Yours is probably going to say that we're already live before mine does. Of course. Yours is probably going to say that we're already live before. Here I come. Hold on one sec. Hi, Pharaoh. How are you?
Good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Quest Show. I am your host, Lana Quest, and I have a special co-host today. He is going to be here. We're here early because my co-host has something to do later on. So we are starting at 7:30 to accommodate him. My co-host is for tonight is, hello, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Pharaoh.
Pharaoh. Pharaoh is my co-host for today. And Pharaoh is going to talk about the Great Migration and the Harlem Renaissance. But before we get to that, and also please stay for the whole show because from 7:30 until 8 o'clock, we are going to talk about the Harlem Renaissance and the Great Migration. But from 8 to 8:30, we're going to talk about those thugs in Congress. So please stay tuned because a lot was going on this week and we don't want to miss that because I have not been here for some time. Pharaoh, I can barely see your head. Yeah, barely. What are you sitting on? People have to see you. Okay. Anyway, okay. So what are you on? A stool?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get started, again, this is my co-host Pharaoh. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you do not miss any upcoming shows. Again, this is a special show, and I am going to let Pharaoh take over. He's going to talk about the Great Migration because it is very interesting. The Great Migration. We don't talk about it a lot. A lot of people don't even know what the Great Migration is. I had to look up some things about the Great Migration, so I'm excited to have Pharaoh give us a lesson about that. You ready, Pharaoh?
Yep.
All right, Pharaoh, take it over.
So the Great Migration is when 1,000,000.5 Black people traveled from the north. I mean, from the south to the north.
Yeah.
Because they got treated unfairly in the south.
Yeah, I looked up some things. It was like from, and you know what's funny? And I shouldn't even say this, but my family's a part of the Great Migration for sure. Your great grandma was a part of the Great Migration because it's from 1916 through 1970. So definitely, because I was born in Alabama and your great grandmother was born in Alabama. So she was like the first of our family to come north. And then she sent for your my aunt, which is your second aunt, and her brother, and so on and so on. You disappeared, Pharaoh.
I'm back.
Okay. So, but continue. So we were a part of the Great Migration because our roots are in Alabama. Well, half of our roots, my roots are. Why did people come to the, I know you said that it's, mainly because they were being treated unfairly in the South. What were some of the things that were happening in the South? Hey, Michelle.
What be happening in the south? So people would the white people, they some people took away the people took away slavery, but white people still had in their minds of enslaving black people.
Right. One more, what are some of the cities and states that people from the South migrated to?
Chicago, New York,
Yep.
Denver or something.
Detroit.
Detroit and
Yeah.
there's something like Denverburg.
Denver. I know. So they did go to the northern states, and they also went to, I believe, western states as well, because they were running from like segregation was a big thing too, right? Because they were still like, you know what segregation is, right? Because you learned that if you're learning the Great Migration, you learned about segregation. You learned about segregation. So Jim Crow.
My teacher was saying about it, but I didn't really hear because they was talking a lot.
Yeah. So in the South, during a lot of that time after slavery was over, it was called like a separate but equal, right? But if you're separate, you're not going to be equal. But they called it separate but equal. White people called it separate but equal. So that means that there was a white school and then there was a black
school. Yeah, I know.
Right. So you couldn't go to school together. And there was a white water fountain and a black water fountain, or a white beach or a black beach. Go ahead.
So white people would go to better beaches and black people would go to the beaches they already finished with.
Right. And not even like they would go to, they just had all of the better things. We just kind of, you know, the African Americans got kind of the leftover of the things. Go ahead.
And some white people got caught in the migration, like in the Great Migration. Some white people took some people and brought them to America to
the north.
That's why they're African Americans, because they had to fuse African and American together for them to be able to work. They had to change their clothing. They had to change how they speak. How did they do anything?
What do you mean?
Because they got pulled in America to work because.
Oh, wait, are we talking about the migration to the north?
We're talking about both at the same time.
Are you talking about slavery, or I'm confused?
I'm talking about the Harlem Renaissance.
Oh, you're getting ahead of me. Okay, but we're still talking about migration. But what are the benefits of migration? What happened in the North with all of this migration? Like, so what, all of, you know, African Americans leaving the South for better jobs and better housing and things like that, and education. What happened afterwards? What happened once African Americans got to the North? Do you remember that? Did you get that far?
Huh?
Did you get that far?
To where?
That far in school?
No, like what you said.
What?
Yeah, what did you say?
I said, what happened once they got to the North? You don't know?
We skipped that. I was probably wasn't.
What do you think? What do you think happened? Like, just think about it. So, like, not all, but a lot of African Americans were in search of like a better way, and they all got to the North. What do you think happened once they got to the North?
I think people would be like confused why there's a bunch of people walking.
There probably was a lot of confusion.
And I feel like when they got there, there's still a little bit of white people just glaring at them.
Right. So, and that's interesting. That was going to be my question to you, because we know that they left the South because there was so much racism in the South, right? So that's why they wanted to go north. Was there not racism in the North, or you think yes?
It was still a little bit,
Right.
just not as much as in the South.
But we all know that a little bit of racism is still racism. Like it doesn't matter. A little bit is still racism, right? Like it's still not a good thing. But yeah, you're right. They knew that, the South and the North, the racism in the South was just, it was open. It was very dangerous. Like they could be murdered for being, Black. In the North, is like you were tolerated more for being Black. There was still racism, but it just wasn't as much. Like your future was a little better when you came north. And you know what else happened? With all that migration, now you have like all these African Americans that started working in like different factories, and different, like they bought homes, like the North started to build up because Black people were putting money into things like, buying cars, not saying it was easy to buy a house, but buying houses and working jobs. Are you talking to me?
Okay, I'm back.
What's going on with my co-host? Do I have a co-host or not a co-host? You want to get fired? You want to get fired, Pharaoh?
I had some technical difficulties.
Okay, that's okay. So that's what happened. But now let's move on to the next thing. One of the biggest things that happened with the Great Migration, and with, you have all these African Americans that took all their talents and their skills from the South and went to the North. What happened?
They had to perform for the white people, but they couldn't watch. They couldn't they had to perform. They couldn't watch. Like they couldn't be as amused as white people.
Well, what the big thing that happened, and in particular in Harlem, New York, was what? Because there was a big explosion of culture. What was that called? In Harlem.
The Harlem?
In Harlem. What was that big explosion of culture?
I don't know.
There were people of the arts settled there, musicians settled there, authors writing books settled all in Harlem. And what did that bring about? You were just Googling it because you wanted to share the screen.
I Googled Harlem Renaissance.
And that's exactly what happened. That came from the Great Migration. Yeah, because remember in the South, African Americans, ever since slavery, what were they doing? They were playing music. Excuse me, they were singing songs. They were
Actors.
very talented people, and they all settled in the North, and in particular in Harlem had a lot of artists there. And then there was just an explosion of culture. So Harlem had like the most literature writers and musicians, and jazz came about, like all of that. Are you Googling the Harlem Renaissance because you want to talk about that?
Nope.
Come on, Pharaoh. Harlem Renaissance started in the 1920s in Harlem, New York. It was a big, vibrant cultural explosion showcasing Black achievements. Black writers, Black artists, Black musicians, all of them. Langston Hughes, Zora Neale,
Claude McKay.
Yep, him too. The Cotton Club, the Apollo Theater.
I was about to say that.
Huh?
I was gonna say that.
The Apollo Theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Apollo Theater, all of that started to pop up. Um, and also racial pride too. Like because now you have all these people and all this art, and art people start to think about all the injustices that are going on. And that started to combine with the civil rights movement. So it was just kind of all related. And it's interesting because I remember as a kid, I didn't learn about the Great Migration, but I always wondered why there were so many Black people in like Massachusetts that were from specific areas. It would be like from Alabama and Mississippi. And then there would be like people in, let's say, Detroit. They were specifically from Georgia. It was like all part of that great migration. And that's really cool. And I think more people should talk about the Great Migration because, like, how did we get here? We got here some kind of way, and it's your ancestors. So I thank you, Pharaoh, for bringing that to uh, our attention. Is there anything else you want to talk about the Great Migration or anything else that you've learned that's really cool?
Renaissance?
Huh?
The Harlem Renaissance?
You said you didn't want to talk about it, so I kind of took over. What about it? You gonna say something about it?
I know more artists.
You do? Okay.
Did you already say Jacob Lawrence?
I didn't, but he absolutely is one of the artists. Yeah. Oh, the Harlem Renaissance.
Aaron, Aaron, I never knew how to say his last name. Isn't it like Douglas?
Is he a writer?
No, he's an artist.
Like a paint artist?
Yep.
Okay.
Augusta Savage.
Yeah. Now Augusta Savage, you can Google her because I believe that the picture on the penny, that bust, she did that sculpture.
Huh?
I think on the penny, you know what the penny looks like?
Yeah, I heard you.
Right. I think she did the sculpture on the penny. I thought you were sharing the screen.
Oh,
Are you looking her up?
okay, stop.
Good job. See, there you go. Augusta Savage. See? She, following her return in New York, she's oh, we're getting everything. Yeah, that's her. Keep going down. Those are all of her sculptures. But I also believe that she did the bust of the penny. Yeah, she's very talented, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, very
too
talented.
bad.
That's not too bad. It's very good. I mean, I believe she. What are you looking up? The penny?
No, Mount Rushmore.
Not sure that's how you spell penny, but pretty close, and that's not gonna get you it. All right, Farrell. I will give you that information. I'm pretty sure that she sculpted it. You have to put Penny and then her name.
What is her name again?
Augusta, Augusta.
Savage.
Yeah, you know how to spell that. Well, do you? Because that's wrong.
Oh,
Okay, there you go. Yeah, it's not. Are you an
She
image?
sculpted the. She. Oh.
You're an image.
She sculpted the. Huh? She sculpted the. The. I forgot.
Sit down, Dodo.
Nice. Now I'll look that up for you. Don't worry about it. I'll look that up. I'll look that up, Pharaoh. No worries. But I know that you have things to do. So unshare. And thank you for coming on and talking about the Great Migration. And I will have you on again when you learn some
Next time I'm at your house.
Huh?
Next time I'm at your house.
Okay, that sounds good. So just exit your way out.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye. Bye. Hi, everyone. So that was Pharaoh Mason telling us about the Great Migration and the Harlem Renaissance. He will be back on to tell us about his next lesson, whatever that may be at school. I am just happy that he's learning about this stuff because, as you know, there are a lot of schools, Republican schools, that don't learn about this stuff. They have no idea what the Great Migration is. They have no idea what the Harlem Renaissance is. So I'm just happy that he is learning about this stuff. But anyway, let's move on and get into what happened the past few weeks. There's a lot to catch up on. I haven't been here in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, so I don't even know what to start first. Let's just start about this week, Michelle. Let's do that. Let's talk about, Jenna Ellis, her video was leaked, I think a couple of days ago. It showed Jenna Ellis's proffer video, and I don't know, I guess this wasn't this big a deal because she was just saying in the video what we all knew. Trump said, or the boss said, they weren't leaving. Like, he knew that he lost the election and said that he was not leaving the White House. But Trump left the White House. So I guess who cares? I mean, I guess the big deal is that the video was leaked. One of the co-defendants' attorneys or something leaked the video, like, just weird. I don't know why. I don't know who it was helping, but it is not a good thing to have a video leaked because, of course, you don't want your witness intimidated, because if they leak this video, then they will leak another video and another video. So they are trying to have this mitigated. That was happening today. They wanted to put like some type of order that they cannot be leaking videos, but then the order had to be tailored down because some videos have to be shared. So it's a lot going on. But that did happen. But let's move on. Let's go to the funny stuff because let's laugh. I know we haven't done quotes and questions in quite some time, but this is like the best quote ever. You want to do it now? Stand your butt up. You stand your butt up. That will never get old to me. Like, that will never get old to me. Why is this happening? Why is it in the middle of a committee hearing of senators? Witness is the president of the Teamsters Union being questioned. And we have, what is this man's name? Mark Wayne Mullen. Mark Wayne, one word. Mullen, some senator from Oklahoma, is like, I heard you said something bad about me on Twitter. And I got the tweet right here. I'll read it. And then he reads a tweet that the president of the Teamsters Union wrote about him, who knows when, basically calling him a greedy CEO because unions are a good thing, but Republicans hate unions, right? So Mark Wayne Mullen was all in his feels because the head of the Teamsters wrote a tweet about him that made him mad. So now, he had to get rough and tough about it. And he's like, you said right here, you called me out. It was like, you want to go. You want to do it now? Stand your butt up. Because the Teamsters Union goes, okay. And then Mark Wayne Mullen goes, stand your butt up. And then the Teamsters president says, you stand your butt up. And I'm just like, one, this is like the most polite fight ever, because who challenges someone to a fight by saying, you want to go now? Yeah, I want to go now. Stand your butt up then. You stand your butt up. Like, it's so stupid. And then Mark Wayne Mullen takes off his wedding ring, which we all think must be the equivalent of, let me get my earrings off, to fake fight, because we knew he wasn't going to fight. It's like, hold me back, Bernie, hold me back. And then you got Bernie Sanders and his aides like, yo, you're a United States Senator. What are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing? Like that happened this week. The Republicans, this is what y'all want. You vote for Republicans, this is what you wanted. And this is how crazy this is. Because Mark Wayne Mullen will not have any accountability. There's nothing going to happen to him other than his donors love it. His donors are like, boy, it's fighting for us. Yeah. And it's like, against the union? You're from Oklahoma. You should want unions, right? Like, oh my God, it's just like, you don't understand it. You never will. No matter how much we try, you never will. It's just a bunch of idiots who just like fights. It's like, they don't need Mark Wayne Mullen to ask the Teamsters Union any important questions. They don't need to get into any facts. But he had a fight. Here's our money. We love it. We're donating to you, Mark Wayne. So that happened. Yeah, poor Bernie. Yeah, Mark Wayne, like that is the craziest name ever. No shade to Oklahoma, but that's how we name our kids, Mark Wayne. Like, ugh, that's just so weird. And I guess he's some type of former, I don't know, one of those UAA or whatever, kickboxing fighters, whatever. But one thing is for certain, that Teamsters president, who he wasn't afraid. He was just like this. He didn't move. He was ready. When you don't say much, you don't need to get up. You waiting, because Mark Wayne would have come over there and that Teamsters president would have just punched his lights out. that would have been all she wrote. All right, next. McCarthy. Didn't quite understand this one either, but apparently McCarthy walked by with all of his security and he elbowed, is this guy named Tim Burchett? I don't know if it's Tim Burchett or whatever his name is. Oh, the guy that after the children were slaughtered in Tennessee, that guy that said, there's nothing we can do. That guy, he got elbowed in the back. So like, one, who cares? Two, what's wrong with y'all? Like, literally, and then, you hear stupid reporters are like, yeah, they need to take a break. It is time for them to go home for the holidays and regroup. all these people do is take breaks. When aren't Congress on a break? After McCarthy got voted out, they took a break. When Scalise was being voted, counting votes, and after counting votes, they go home, took a break. Then we got Jim Jordan. How many times we counted for him? They go home, they take a break. Then it's like, here's Mark Johnson. Oh, he's here now. Go home, all they do is take a break. They have done nothing. And Chip Roy has told us that, because Chip Roy is just as fed up as the Democrats are fed up. Chip Roy, a whole Republican, made a whole video for Biden's usage, calling out Republicans, saying that they have not done anything since they have gotten there. Just nothing but stunts and shows. And it's true. You're going to walk by and elbow your fellow fool for nothing? Why? Like, for why? I mean, you know what? Maybe there's a reason, because we're saying there's not a reason, but maybe there is. McCarthy needs his name back in public, right? Maybe he just needed more attention. Mark Johnson's getting all the attention right now, so McCarthy needed something. He needed a win, I guess. I don't know. So he walked by. The news cycles on McCarthy now. Like, that's how insane the Republican Party. Like, this is like a week. We haven't even talked about Bobart and Marjorie Taylor Greene, because the men are out here being macho. Just it's insane. So let's keep going, because some other stuff happened in the past 2 weeks, and I have not been here to talk about it yet. Joe Manchin, he is not running again, which is, I guess we could say, who cares, because who likes Joe Manchin? But then again, it would have been nice to keep a seat, but he probably wouldn't have won anyway. So now we're not going to have that West Virginia Senate seat. That means that we're going to have to try to flip another seat. So Democrats have a lot of work to do. They're throwing up in the air Joe Manchin may be running for president. Who cares? Like, who's voting for Joe Manchin? Who knows Joe Manchin? I mean, are independents gonna vote for Joe Manchin? Like, I don't know. These past few elections have shown us that, we always say that voters are kind of stupid. Look, I mean, Trump voters, I mean, no shade but shade, right? Like, they just vote against their best interest constantly. Like, it just, none of it makes any sense. Even before we came on, like, I had wrote a tweet about it was something Biden, who knows? And then someone writes about, like, Democrats are the party of the KKK, and they had slaves. And it's like, okay, so we're going to forget about the Southern strategy and how the parties switched. But even let's forget about that. So if you're actually saying that Democrats are the party of the KKK and that they're the racists, so you're also saying that Republicans are woke? That's what you're saying? Like, see how they don't make sense. And then they can't answer it when you say it. And Republican voters, that's why we say something's wrong with your heads, because you say things that don't make sense, because your critical thinking is, you have none. Republicans, Democrats they're the racists. They're the ones keeping you on the Democratic plantation. Okay. Yes, they are. So that means Republicans are the opposite, and the opposite is woke. So Republicans are woke. Does David Duke know this? Did the Nazis know that Republicans are woke? Because why are they all running as Republicans? Like, the logic, they don't make any sense. However, it seems like Democratic voters and independent voters and, people are getting more educated, getting more involved. And it seems like just right before the elections, people start to pay attention. And we've seen this since doggone 2016, 2017, because Republicans haven't won an election really since then, because Democrats and independents are paying attention. They're watching. They don't like it. They didn't like all the election deniers. Those people lost. They don't like that Roe is gone, despite Republicans going, the American people have spoken. This is what we're working for the American people. How are you working for the American people when the American people are speaking? And they showed us, because let's talk about what the American people showed us couple of Tuesdays ago during the elections. Let's actually talk about what the American people want, right? Moms for Liberty, you know who they are, right? The back school board, the school board people who call themselves the parental rights group, but I think the Southern Poverty Center has called them like some type of extremist group, because those are the women that go to like school board meetings and they're yelling and saying, I don't want my kids to read these books, and they're getting books banned, they're getting libraries closed. If you have a gay child, they're chasing you down the street, like they're trying to get rid of your child's pronouns. Like, those are the Moms for Liberty. So nuts that I think Ron DeSantis had hired one to do something in Florida. Who knows, because he's just excited about them. Well, let's say this. Moms for Liberty lose elections bigly. Nobody wants them. America has spoken, right? Nobody wants Moms for Liberty. Yeah, America has spoken. They don't want book bans. They don't want teachers to be barred from teaching. It turns off voters. Nobody wants that. So Moms for Liberty, go take a hike. They lost their election. So again, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like independent voters and Democratic voters are just, even, maybe some conservative voters that aren't for the shit, are paying attention to this, and they see where it's going. Let's talk about Virginia, Glenn Youngkin County country. So Glenn Youngkin thought for sure that Tuesday's election was going to give him some big results, because Glenn Youngkin is the governor, Republican governor of Virginia. So what he was hoping for was that he would get state control, state Senate control, state House control. He wanted all levers of the government in Virginia, because the minute he got that, he was going to ban abortion, right? So what he tried to do was backtrack abortion bans and say, hey, 15 weeks, I'll give you 15 weeks, right? Like, that's what he started to say. But even with that rhetoric, he was still saying, I'll give you 15 weeks. But Democrats are out here wanting you to have abortions at the 9th month. That's what he kept saying. That he was running ads saying that Democrats want abortions in the 9th month. Voters aren't stupid. Voters know better. Like, you're being intentionally obtuse if you repeat that. That is murder. No one is doing that. We've said that before. No one is waking up out of bed, baby kicking all night, and you're bonding, and then say, I changed my mind. Like, who is doing that? No. What you can do is put it up for adoption, but no one is doing an abortion or a medical procedure at that late in someone's pregnancy, unless there is a severe problem that would put the life of the mother at risk. And that is the part that Glenn Youngkin and the rest of the Republicans conveniently leave out. So he ran on trying to say that Democrats are out here having full-term abortions. That did not work for him. Democrats now in Virginia control both the Virginia House of Delegates and the Senate. So Glenn Youngkin's hope and dreams for the presidency are off the table for now. Because you see, if he got control of the House of Delegates and the Senate, he was absolutely going to throw his hat into, excuse me, I have a tickle. He was absolutely going to throw his hat into the presidential race, because he was going to say, see, I got everything under control in my state. But they rebuked Youngkin and the Republicans of that state. So again, voters paying attention. And yeah, Youngkin was another one with the book bans, the diversity ban. Like that was him too. So the voters said, no, we don't want that. So that makes me happy. Let's move on, because some other states had a great election as well. Ohio had a good election night. Ohio has enshrined into their state constitution the right to an abortion. And I think marijuana, right? I think marijuana is legalized now in Ohio. So two wins, right? I mean, you don't have to smoke it, but that doesn't mean that no one else can. Why not make it legal? Like, you literally, doctors are using it as medicine for glaucoma, for extreme pain. It's like when I read medical records, a lot of people with fibromyalgia, chronic joint pain, they're like rubbing like the oil on their body to like, alleviate some of the pain. So it's 2023. If you don't want to smoke it, don't smoke it. Like, it's not cocaine, it's marijuana. Who cares? So it is legal in Ohio, and also abortion has been enshrined. If you remember, Ohio was the state that didn't like that this was even on the ballot. So they tried to change it so that it didn't get on the ballot, but it got on the ballot anyway. And let's see, it was backed by a large margin too. Let's see, abortion referendum back 94 to 6%. Ohioans spoke. Even Republicans in Ohio said banning it goes too far. Banning it goes that, because that's what this is. This isn't fueled by all Democrats. This is also Republicans saying banning this is bad, because they remember what happened to that 10-year-old girl who was raped in Ohio, who could not get an abortion. So the state of Ohio was trying to force a 10-year-old to have a child. And but for her parents being able to afford to get her out of that state and take her somewhere else for the medical procedure, Ohio would have a elementary child, 10-year-old, pregnant, getting ready to deliver at 11-year-old mother. That's what Ohio wanted. People were disgusted by it. And they came out and they showed that they were disgusted by it. So now that it will be enshrined in Ohio, Republican Ohio lawmakers are pissed off about that. And actually, Rick Santorum, who is a Pennsylvania lawmaker, said this about it: true democracy is no way to run a country. Because they're pissed, right? Can you imagine saying that out loud? He said, true democracy, the democracy of people getting it on the voting to put it on the ballot, fair and square, people came out, they voted, they won, it's going to be enshrined. But because Republicans lost, they're saying full democracy doesn't work because people won't do what we want them to do. So why are we giving them full democracy, true democracy? True democracy is no way to run a country because they want to be fascist. They want to run the country. They want to tell you what to do. This is, again, them saying these things out loud, and it's up to us to stay tuned and to keep track of what they're saying, because this is going to get really bad. And we all always say, this is going to be the most important election coming up, but it is, because right now they're announcing all of the things that they're going to do, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. You got Trump running around town talking about vermin and his Nazi dog whistles and rounding up immigrants and putting them in a camp is what he's saying. Like, is everybody listening to this? Because he's for real. Trump is mad. If Trump ever untangles himself from this stuff, it's going to be crazy. He will never leave the White House. He will die there. It will be crazy. He's talking about firing anyone that is not loyal to him and those jobs that he can fire. So like in the military, if he can fire people in the military for being supposedly woke, which you shouldn't even know, which way they are, like it's the military, he's going to do it. Top jobs, he's going to get rid of people and only put loyalists in place. Think about it. But that's for real. There are not going to be any guardrails. I know it seemed like there were no guardrails in the White House before, but there actually were people who were like, whoa, that's a bridge too far. No, you can't do that. There is not going to be any no people. They're going to be all, yes, boss. Yes, boss. What do you need, boss? How high, boss? Who do you need to be jailed, boss? Okay, boss. And the crazy thing is, I was thinking about this the other day. He's definitely going to go after the Secretary of State in Georgia. He's going to go after Bill Barr because he hates that guy right now. Everyone that's testifying against him, because remember, Trump is in this predicament because Republicans are witnesses to his crimes. He is going to go after all of them. Even before he goes after Democrats, he is going to go after them. But you know what? They will vote for him again. Bill Barr will vote for him. The Georgia Secretary of State said he would vote for Trump. I don't get it. So let's move on to Kentucky. Governor Beshear has been reelected. Let's see who went up against him. Trump endorsed Daniel Cameron. If you can remember Daniel Cameron, he was the guy who said that Breonna Taylor's killing was justified and that the cops should not be indicted, the ones who busted into her home with a no-knock warrant and shot her while she lied in bed. So yeah, that guy was endorsed by Trump, and that guy ran against the Democratic Governor Beshear, which is quite an anomaly in Kentucky because Kentucky is a red state. Is that Mitch McConnell's state? Excuse me. I think that is a Mitch McConnell state. Very red, but Governor Beshear has been able to hold on to it by putting his head down and talking about the economy, talking about bringing jobs to Kentucky, just talking the talk instead of talking about Trump won the election in 2020. Like, this is what Daniel Cameron was doing. And again, people reject that. They don't want to hear you be an election denier. it's 2023. They want to move on. So they got rid of Daniel Cameron because, come on, Black guy, you wasn't going to win anyway, no matter who endorsed you. And they reelected Governor Bashir. And he even campaigned on reproductive rights. So that means that even in Kentucky, reproductive rights are important. And let's go back to Virginia real quick. Virginia was so important for Democrats to gain control of that state government because Virginia is the last state in the South to be able to have abortion, right? So in Alabama, if you're in Alabama, Mississippi, the closest state for you to have abortion is Virginia at this point. And if we lost Virginia, the local government, right? Because we can hold on, like if the governor, what's his name, Youngkin wants to ban it, at least we have the state senate, so we can stop it. That's a win. That's a win, because if we didn't hold that then or gain that, we would have been in some serious trouble. And I think women also knew how important Virginia was as well. Like, I don't even know how Youngkin got elected, because we should have known, like, this is dangerous. But Youngkin talked a good talk. He was quiet with his racism. He was quiet with his anti-diversity. He was quiet with his anti-choice. He was quiet with all that. Kind of like Ron DeSantis, right? Ron DeSantis didn't get really crazy until after he won. It's very quiet. Then he won. Then he's like, I'm banning bugs. I'm banning teachers. I'm banning your gay kids. I'm banning pronouns. I'm banning Disney. Like, that's when he got crazy, is when he actually knew. Yeah, you're right, Michelle. It's this is a big one. Like, it just gets worse, but it really is worse. I think that I have covered just about everything. The economy is doing well. Jobs have been created. I think that we are out of danger of a recession. I think I heard them say that because the numbers look well. Those incremental interest rate hikes, which of course we hate to see, but those are the things that have kept us from going into a recession. And, again, Biden's not perfect. Somebody said the other day, like, there's two shit choices. And it's like, I don't understand why people keep saying there's two shit choices. There are not two shit choices. There's one shit choice, and that is Donald J. Trump. How is Biden a shit choice? I looked at Biden today. I'm like, Jesus Christ, is this man asleep? Because now he's meeting with the president of China. Yesterday, I forgot he was doing something somewhere. Today he's in San Francisco, or was it? I can't even keep up with his schedule, because every single day he is somewhere doing something and trying to, like, on top of that, keep Americans standing on the world stage, on top of Ukraine, on top of what's happening in between Israel and Hamas. Like, on top of all of this, he is continuing to do what he has set out to do, which is help people get relief with student loan forgiveness. Because, as you know, the Supreme Court said, no, it's a no-go. So what did Biden do? Biden found wraparounds. He used the numbers game. He's like, we're going to rework these numbers so that people can get forgiven, because now the formulas were wrong back then. Now we're reworking these formulas. Hey, these people are finished paying. So just thousands and thousands and thousands of people have had their loans actually forgiven. My son's loan is due now. He has not paid into it, so he's not going to have it forgiven yet. So there's no new formula. However, for him, because they are reworking everything, now he pays $0 a month because they've changed the percentages of, the ratio of what you pay back versus what your income is. So whenever they mesh those numbers, he's not making that much, so he pays $0, right? So kudos to Joseph Biden because he has found a way to give people relief through either not having to pay anything and no interest being accrued while you're not paying anything. It just goes on an income base, right? If your income is not a certain amount, you're just not going to pay your student loans back. That's just how it is. So kudos to him for continuing to work on it and to find a way, because you got to give him credit where credit is due. I don't know how he's a shit choice when he has expanded healthcare for veterans. I don't know how he's a shit choice when he has, passed the infrastructure bill, which is giving money to all of these states, especially these Republican states who are touting it and celebrating being able to fix their dilapidated bridges and their roads. And so is our state, right? All the fixing of these bridges, this is all from the infrastructure bill. Thank you, Biden, for the CHIPS bill. Now these manufacturing companies, that is what's adding these manufacturing jobs. And not only is he adding the manufacturing jobs, if you're trying to get some of the money from the specific CHIPS bill, your manufacturing chip facility has to have a place where women can drop their kids off, i.e. daycare. You also have to have a place where women can breastfeed. So these things have to be in place. Why? To get women back into the workforce, to keep women in the workforce. What administration has done that? What Republican does that? What? You can't name any policy that a Republican has initiated, right? I'm not talking about bipartisan, right? Because they signed on to the infrastructure bill. A few, not a lot. Most of them like, nah, we don't want it, right? They just block everything. One that Republicans have come up with and initiated. What type of that helps everybody, that puts money back into Americans' pocket? Shoot me an email because I want to know, because there's no policy or safety net that Republicans have put in place that is helping pregnant women, that is helping with the higher your wages. They didn't want minimum wage increases. They voted against that. They don't even want wage increases. Biden fights for wage increase, fights to keep your Social Security. Prescription costs have gone down. Why? Not because of Republicans. They vote against it, but they need these same prescriptions. And so do the voters, Republican voters, but they will still say they're both shit. I don't know how you say they're both shit when one has 91 counts and the only thing that he has passed is tax cuts for the rich. How are they both shit? Y'all gotta do better. Y'all really gotta do better. Y'all mess around. Donald Trump becomes president. Your children will have less rights than we had. That's where we're going right now. And that's a dangerous slope because Democratic women are not the only women who need these medical procedures. Republican women need them too. And actually, that's why they're voting in favor of it being legal, because they do understand the ramifications of not being able to get this particular health care. One quick story. Yeah, he sure is 1,000% better. All right, Santos, two quick stories. So one quick story is very interesting. So, Republicans, of course, they want to criminalize women, right? So that's why they're criminalizing abortion. And actually, remember Donald Trump, they asked him a question, I think it was Chris Wallace years ago. He was like, well, what do you want to happen to women if they get an abortion? He's like, I don't know, but there has to be some sort of punishment, right? That's what he says. So Alabama has been punishing women who miscarry, because what have they been doing? They're trying to make miscarrying a crime. Not only miscarrying a crime, they're trying to make, if, say you're a drug addict, and if you take drugs and you're pregnant, you can go to jail. So there is a woman who was in jail for 15 years for using drugs while pregnant. And the specific law that they catch you with doesn't even say you have to harm the baby. So even if the baby was not harmed, I'm not condoning it, but an addict is an addict. If the baby is not harmed, it doesn't matter. You still go to jail. So they sent this woman, I believe her name was Ashley, to jail while pregnant, because Republicans love babies. Because stay with me, I don't understand the sense, and maybe you can help me understand and make sense of it, because I don't understand. So in order to protect unborn children, Republicans think it a good idea, or thought it a good idea, to arrest this woman who took drugs while pregnant. So instead of maybe sending her to rehab to get clean, because it's addiction, right? Addiction, you're not thinking, oh, I should have because I'm pregnant. You're addicted. That's not how addictions work. Oh, my battery's going dead. Hold on. Oh, no. Perfect. Right. So in their, smart ways, they throw this woman in jail because she took drugs while pregnant. They gave her 15 years, right? So one day, what happened? She goes into labor. Well, oh, wait, mind you, did I mention she sleeps on the floor? On the concrete floor, on a mat while pregnant, because Republicans care about the baby, right? They care about that life he's carrying. So they put her on the floor, and that's where she sleeps. So she goes into labor and starts, labor. It hurts. She's in pain for 12 hours. She's screaming with the guards telling her to shut up, be quiet, stop being such a baby. They throw Tylenol at her because state of Alabama cares about the babies, right? They care about the baby. That's why she's in there in the first place. How dare you harm your baby? How dare you harm the baby? But the state of Alabama is going to put you in jail, put you on the floor to sleep, throw some Tylenol at you while you are in labor to help you through your labor. So she gets up, she goes to the shower, maybe that can help. So she's taking the shower, and she delivers the baby in a prison shower. Did I mention that they did not allow her to have prenatal care while she was in jail? Did I also mention that she was not able to get her psychiatric prescription medication because she had psychiatric problems? So yeah, they threw her in jail because she's an addict and she had psychiatric problems. They thought jail was a good place, but then they put her in jail and then didn't let her get her medication or prenatal. But Alabama cares about the babies, right? So she delivers the baby, passes out. I guess they take the baby to the hospital. She passes out. They leave her there to bleed out. They finally probably looked at her and was like, oh, she don't look too good, and took her to the hospital. I think she had been diagnosed with I think her placenta abruption, or I don't know, something broke, and it could have caused her to deliver a stillborn. So that's just explaining to me how any of that made sense. She didn't get prenatal care. She gave birth in the hospital and could have delivered a stillborn because she was at high risk. And they didn't give her the care that she needed, but they forced her to have a baby in prison because they put her in prison because they said, we have to protect the baby. Like, you see what I'm saying? Just none of it makes any sense. And then you have these people running around like, oh, pro-life. You're not pro-life. You're just like, it's not even pro-baby. It's like you just don't want women to have a choice. And then the women that support this are just crazy. Like, you're just crazy. That's just what you are. You're just fucking crazy, because there's no way in the world that any God would allow or want or revel in that kind of cruelty, because that is absolutely cruelty. And we all have to answer to our own sins. We all have to be held accountable for our own choices. So no one should be making these choices for us. And that story is just absolutely insane because, again, to throw someone in jail for 15 years because they are a drug addict and they took drugs while pregnant is an insane thing, where you have Donald Trump running around here with 91 counts, raping, stealing, and doing all kinds of nonsense. It's a tough one. Last thing, yes, Santos, the ethics committee report came out today. George Santos has been living la vida loca. He just out here buying, getting him some Botox. He going to Sephora with campaign money. He is going to the casino. He's transferring money from his campaign account to his personal account, paying his rent, buying designer clothes. He was not playing. Like, dude, what? Like, how do you not think you're going to get caught? You left a whole paper trail. And it's so funny because they kept saying like the ethics board would take like so long to do this, or that they would drag their feet. There had to be a whole bunch of something. So, you know what, too? Santos' former aide, right? Didn't he just plead guilty? Like, come on, it was coming anyway. So George Santos will not be running for re-election. I do believe I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, that they're going to be voting tomorrow to oust him. If they don't get all the votes tomorrow, they will probably vote again, because I don't know if they're all even here. I think a lot of them have gone home for the holiday next week. So we will see what happens with that. Michelle, thanks for rocking and rolling. As you hear, my voice is lost. I am sorry. It is so dry in here, but I am making it happen. It is 8:40. Oh yeah, it has been an hour. I got on here at 7:30 with Pharaoh. Yes, Michelle, go get some rest, girl. Thank you for showing up. Anyone out there still watching, thank you for watching. I appreciate everyone. Next week is the holiday, so of course I will not have a show, but I will be back the following week, and I will start to have some interviews coming up with some candidates. I got that lined up. I will let you know about that the next time I pop on. I will talk to you later. Thank you, Michelle. Ooh, see you Saturday. Bye.